Hey there, welcome to ready.set.jam, a game design competition where we bring together a group of game creators to compete in a series of game-making challenges. Over 3 rounds, they'll create projects that will be played and rated by the community and our panel of judges. At the end of each round, the contestant with the lowest score will be excused from the competition until there's only one dev left. This is the final round, and it's been a great competition so far. In the first round, our designers took on the challenge of the classic game round, where they had to recreate or reimagine the game Asteroids with the twist of can't stop moving. Then in round 2, which we call the scope creep round, our contestants took the game they made in the first round and had to update it to add in the idea of bigger is better. In the first round, we had to say goodbye to ButWhyLevin, who made a great looking game called Asteroid Attack that just didn't land with the judges. And in the second round, we had to bid farewell to Yannick, whose game Asteroid Beetles had a great style but came up just a bit short in the voting. If you missed either of those episodes, there's a card up top to the playlist if you'd like to check them out. But before we jump into our final round, let's go ahead and meet our last 2 contestants and see what they've made so far. HelperWesley is a game dev and video creator that works on many different projects using GDevelop, and has a longer running project where you play as a technical support worker in a space station orbiting an alien planet trying to support the crew members down below. In the first round, HelperWesley made Icebergs, where you play as a ship sailing through open waters, destroying icebergs to keep them from colliding with you and upgrading your weapons. Every so often, a monster will appear to attack the ships and you'll need to have enough upgrades to be able to take it down to continue. The game is dripping with atmosphere, and all of the judges really liked it, except for a bit of an issue with pacing, placing the game firmly in second place. In round 2, HelperWesley ran into a bit of time issues and was only able to visually add the bigger is better scope creep, but was able to make other gameplay improvements based on the judges' feedback from round 1, which made the game very engaging, scoring high enough to take second and make it into the finals. Sid Fish is a game dev and video creator who works as a data analyst and makes games using GameMaker Studio, and has a longer running project in the works called Pushy Worm, an adorable Snakebird inspired game where you play as a worm dad that must solve movement puzzles in order to feed your 3 children. In the first round, Sid Fish made Cargo Chase, a game where you play as a spaceship that needs to deliver cargo to different locations around the level. The catch is, the cargo will collide and hurt you if you don't keep moving while you have it, and it also can't be delivered until you've destroyed and collected elements from the asteroids themselves. The judges loved the game, scoring it highly in all categories, placing it firmly in first place. In round 2, Sid Fish made the crate grow as you collected asteroid elements, as well as adding a big boss that guarded the final crate. The judges loved the addition and how it fit in with the bigger is better scope creep. They felt it enhanced already fun gameplay, putting Cargo Chase comfortably in first place once again. So that's where we stand right now, but the final round is anyone's game. HelperWesley and Sid Fish will now take part in a head-to-head game jam to see who will be crowned the ready.set.jam champion. They will be given both a theme and a restriction. They will have 48 hours over the next 2 weeks to create their game for the judges to play and rate. And for this final round, they'll have to create a game with a theme of power source and a restriction of achievements. Let's see what they make.
Energy Supply is without a doubt my favorite jam game that I've ever made. The theme of power sources sparked a bunch of ideas in my head, but achievements led me down 2 directions. 1, literal achievements, or 2, jokes. So I had it in my head that my twist would be with the achievements. From that interpretation of the restriction, and some ridiculously warm days that were probably caused by climate change, I decided to create this game. You start the game, innocently enough burning coal to get 1 or 2 or 3 energy credits, but eventually that ramps up and you start to pay attention to the numbers, and so you're not paying attention to the invisible health bar of the planet. The achievements start to roll in right away with, you did your first click, yay! You did your second click, yay! And it seems like that's going to be the joke until you get about halfway through the game and you get your first bad achievement. And from there, everything goes downhill. The planet starts to darken, the horrible achievements keep rolling in, and if you spent your points badly at the beginning, all you can do is watch the planet go to hell as you frantically try to save it. Admittedly, not really a cheerful game, but neither was my last one, so I guess that's on brand. I knew that a clicker game wasn't something that people would be thrilled about, but I hope that if I did a good enough job with the juiciness and the funny joke achievements at the beginning, I would be able to hook them long enough to get them to the ending. And while I enjoy fun games, I do like games that also make you think, so I was kind of hoping that the judges might agree.
For the next round of ready.set.jam, I was keen to make a platformer. I thought the theme of power sources would lend itself well to some interesting puzzle mechanics. I had this idea where you had to power up doors and lifts with batteries in order to progress with the game. To incorporate achievements, I would add collectibles scattered throughout the level that will be used to unlock extra cutscenes. The simple story I came up with was a couple of kids wanting to get the latest and greatest video game, and in order to buy it, one would need to set off on an adventure to collect cash in an abandoned factory. I played around in Sprite working on different ideas for art. The style I ended up with was a high resolution vector style, and instead of moving to a different tool meant specifically for vector art, I just decided to stick with drawing it all in Sprite. What can I say, I love that tool. Next was bringing in the art I made for the player, platforms and backgrounds into Game Maker, and started working on the mechanics for the opening doors and lifts. I set up the game to have a main hallway and 10 individual rooms. Each room has 2 doors, one you come in from and another you need to exit out of. Finding a way to exit the room involves using batteries to open a gate or power up some lifts, and generally involves solving some kind of platforming puzzle. The rooms all have some cash, with some rooms having additional hidden cash, and when you collect enough you get to see a cutscene. When all cash in the game is found, the game ends with the final cutscene. In terms of things that could be improved, I would say for sure the final room in the game. I know several players struggling with it and get quite frustrated as it involved finicky movement and setting up the platforms just right. I had even considered adding spikes and saws to that room, but I'm glad I didn't, as it would have been way over the top. I also thought the hidden cash in the game was too concealed, and the visual cues I had in there just weren't obvious enough. I should have made it clearer that there was hidden cash in the game, and perhaps some kind of indicator in the rooms that had the hidden cash in it, especially given you needed to find all the cash in the game to get the full ending. I had a heap of fun making this game, and I'd like to thank Vimlark for inviting me to participate in this awesome series.
Alright, the build time is up and the games have been submitted. It's time to send them off to our judges to rate and play. Each round is scored by 5 judges in 6 categories: art, audio, feel, originality, fun, and overall. The judges will be myself as well as my community. During the judging time frame, anyone on my Twitch or Discord were able to go play the games and leave a rating. The community ratings were then averaged into one judge vote, which will be combined with mine and our 3 special guest judges. Sam Hogan, a fantastic game dev and content creator here on YouTube that makes a variety of projects using Unity, like the hardest game ever or a game inside a game, and even recreating Minecraft with no blocks. Tim Ruswick, an amazing game dev and content creator that started the Game Dev Underground community, and has either released or is working on releasing games like Phylophobia, Battle Barn Tactics, and the card game Murder Bunnies. WhyLevin, another incredible game dev, video creator, and Twitch streamer, who was the lead designer on a little game you may have heard of called Where's My Water, as well as many others. WhyLevin's also released games like Pro Gymnast, the Switch game Very Very Valet, and is currently rebooting their popular mobile game Jellycar into Jellycar Worlds. Thank you for the judges for taking time out of their schedule to play, rate, and give their feedback. Now let's see what they have to say. HelperWesley's take on the theme and restriction is Energy Supply, a clicker game that finds you building up energy to power the planet. As you progress, you gain achievements that start out lighthearted and silly. The planet will slowly begin to suffer under the pollution of the early power supply types. Once you buy more of a type of resource, you can't get rid of it, making your early game success directly add to the timer you have at the end. So the end of the game is a mad dash to produce enough energy before the planet's time runs out. HelperWesley also added in a feature for me that adds an auto-click if you hold the mouse button down. I have trouble with repetitive strain injury in situations where you're clicking repeatedly really fast for a long period of time, and it's a really nice accessibility feature that I haven't seen before. The art for the game is nice and works well. Everything is clear with some nice juice to make your clicks feel satisfying. The planet changing color to show pollution forming was great, and added some really nice tension of wanting to fix it before it's too late. Tim did feel the buttons were a little basic, but still very serviceable. The clicking and achievement sounds are really nice and effective. Adding variety to the click sound really helped it from becoming too repetitive as the gameplay goes on. Clicker games don't usually have music, but this one's a bit more active, so I would have liked to have a little bit of ambient sound or music there. However, the constant clicking sound does fill up the space well, making sure that the game never feels too quiet. All the judges agree that the clicking feels satisfying with a nice visual effect paired with the sound. Personally, the auto clicker added a lot to the game feel for me without taking anything away in my opinion. You receive achievements at a good pace as well, keeping you going to see what the next one will be. This is an interesting take on a clicker/idle game. Usually they develop over a longer period of time, but here there's a story that unfolds and the end goal is reachable within a reasonable time frame. WhyLevin and I really enjoyed the way it all fits together. And while Tim agreed that the story and theme worked really well, the actual gameplay just didn't do very much for him. Fun was tricky with this one, as can happen when a game actually has a message. It's engaging and builds nice tension with an interesting through line. Tim isn't a fan of this type of game, so the fun was reduced a bit, whereas Sam really enjoys a well-balanced clicker game. I think WhyLevin said it best. It's hard to call it fun, but worth experiencing, definitely. Overall, the game is a great combination of the theme and restriction with a good message. While not all judges like the gameplay of this type of game, condensing a clicker-like experience down to a 10 or so minute game worked great. It's well put together and well realized. For the final round, Sid Fish made Vinnie and the Factory with Cash, a puzzle platformer where you complete levels by pushing around power blocks to open doors and move platforms. You play as a kid trying to collect cash to buy video games and more. As you collect more and more money, you will unlock different cutscenes which act as your achievements. When all cash in the game is collected, the final cutscene plays and you win. That's easier said than done, as some of the final cash is pretty well hidden. You'll definitely need to think outside the box, or maybe in, to find the last few. The game has a great art style and is very cute. The cutscenes are well done, and the squash and stretch on the player adds some nice personality to the character. I did feel the parallaxing background felt a little weird with the doors, as it didn't look like they led anywhere. All the judges agree the audio for this game is great. The sound effects are cute and fun, matching the visuals well. There's some nice variety to the jumping sound effects so it doesn't get repetitive, and the music has a great energy. The platforming controls feel good, and pushing the blocks is very easy and smooth. In later levels though, the block pushing does get to be pretty finicky. Because the blocks push so easily, they can be tough to get exactly where you need them. And it's not hard to accidentally push them off a platform or a ledge to lose progress when you didn't mean to. The hidden money can also be frustrating, as there's no hints in the basic game flow to make you think to check for hidden pathways. The base mechanic of push block to open door isn't very original, but combining it with the sub-level doors was a really fun idea. Some levels are also connected to each other, meaning that to get the secret cache in one level, you need to enter through another. I would have loved to have seen more of this interconnected level design. The game is fun to play with some interesting puzzles and a great level flow, at least until you hit the final level, which becomes very finicky and hard to maneuver in a frustrating way. The level is fairly straightforward to understand, but the execution required to complete it stops some in their tracks. The judges liked the game overall, but wished for a little bit of tweaking towards the end. The block pushing is fun and the puzzles are enjoyable, with the exception of the last one, which is a little bit finicky to put together and very easy to mess up. The final cache did need a bit more signaling, but once you found one false wall, it was easier to find others. The game is very cute and fits together really well for an enjoyable experience. And that's the feedback. Let's take a look at how the voting went. Both our devs made great games with very different approaches, and they should be extremely proud about the games they've created. But there can only be one winner, and the designer taking home victory today is Sid Fish. While the game did have a few balance issues towards the end, the gameplay and style shined through to take the top spot with the judges. HelperWesley, you made a great game with a fantastic message, but unfortunately it just didn't stand out quite enough this time. Thank you so much for taking part, and I look forward to seeing all the amazing things you make in the future. A huge congratulations to Sid Fish. You stayed on top the whole competition, making games that had amazing polish and flow. Congratulations again. And that's going to do it for this series of Ready.set.jam. A massive thank you to our competitors and our judges. Please go check out their channels and be sure to subscribe. Links to everyone, including our winner Sid Fish, are all down in the description below. We'll be back soon with 4 new game designers to put to the test. Be sure to subscribe and hit that bell to be notified when those videos come out. I've been your host Vimlark, and I will see you next time on Ready Set Jam. I need to thank Gingerbeard4251 and Mr. Boxmonkey for all of their help. Without them, none of this would be happening. If you would like to help support the channel, keep these going and see more, giving the video a like, subscribing, and hitting the bell are all amazing ways to help out. Sharing this video with others you think would like it would also be immensely appreciated. If you would like to go a step further, I have a Patreon where you can directly support these videos, like these awesome people: Cinnabunny, Clone13, Cortland Masam, Curdle Games, Nightfall, It's Jeppy, Jed, Kevin Haugau, Killboy Gaming, Motzi Makes, Nazar Salim, Salty Pretzel, Scott Hansen, Soapy Gnome, Straight Up Gruntled, and Warren Stephen Rose. I really can't thank you all enough for the support. If you would like to chat with me, the best place to do that is on my live streams at twitch.tv/Vimlark. We have a super chill community and I would love to talk with you. And we also have a Discord full of even more incredible people. If you've hung around to this point in the video, you're the best. Thank you so much. I'll talk with you next time. Have a good one. Later.